Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. And this is my first impressions look on the Nike GT Hustle 2. So this shoe is a new rendition of the GT Run. You guys remember the GT Run? I didn't really like that shoe all too much. But of course we have the GT series, which is the greater than series from Nike, right? And they have the GT Cut and the GT Jump, which of course we have the second iteration already out. I don't know why they changed the name, but they did, and they're calling it the Hustle 2, right? So this shoe retails for $170, which is kind of expensive. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave the link in the description box. There's 2 colorways available, but let's get started right off with the Tracciones, and the traction is pretty interesting. So we pretty much have a fully translucent rubber going throughout the entire outsole, besides I guess these kind of circle, they're calling it like a waffle herringbone traction pattern. But we have solid rubber, right? We have black solid rubber here, kind of like in the middle of the outsole. And so it's pretty interesting, right? So it kind of protrudes out like these little circles, and we have herringbone on it pretty much. And how does the traction feel so far on my wood floors? It feels pretty nice, right? There's no squeak, right? It's very silent traction, it feels like right now. Oh, of course, once I play in it, it might change. Like it might get louder once I play in it, but we'll have to see on that. But for right now, it sounds very quiet, right? But also the bite seems really good. You know, we have a nice bite. It has a nice stop as well. Not top tier or anything like that, but has a pretty solid bite on my wood floors right now. And the durability, I'm very surprised. You know, durability seems really good, right? So I guess these little nubby circles kind of protrude out, and they protrude out a good amount. So it's like kind of deep. The rubber is very hard. So I guess it'll be good. There's not a whole lot of surface area because we have a lot of room in between the circles. However, the rubber is very hard. So I feel like it'll be pretty good for outdoor use. So the traction so far is feeling pretty good. I like how it feels so far. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, overall feels very nice, right? So here in the heel we have a nice rounded shape and fully exposed foam, and this foam is actually pretty nice. They don't say what it is on their tech specs, they just say full length foam. I don't know why Nike does that. Like they used to say Phylon or Cushlon or whatever, they just say foam now. But anyways, we have nice soft foam here in the heel, and then we have a nice rounded shape here in the forefoot, and a lot of forefoot flex. It's just super smooth feeling shoe. But also look in the midfoot area as well. Do they not add midfoot shank plates in their shoes anymore, like Nike, like with the Sabrina one as well? Look at the Sabrina one. It just bends in the midfoot. So yeah, I mean, it's not a huge issue I think for most people, but some people do need the extra torsional support. For me, I don't really need it all too much, but I feel like it's just something that they should add, right? But overall, heel to toe transition does feel pretty smooth. But look at this. Look at how much this shoe shakes, and it does feel a little unstable. We'll get to that in support and lockdown a little later, but I think it's because of the little nubs, and they kind of like protrude out, and it makes it feel a little unstable. Look at that. Look at that. You know what I mean? But anyways, there's that. Moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is kind of confusing as well. I feel like Nike needs to work on their tech specs, right? But if you remove, so first of all, the insole, we have kind of like the styrofoam insole, you know what I mean? It's like not that nice, not super foamy or anything, but you don't really need a nice soft foam insole if you have full length Zoom Air right underneath the foot. And we have full length Zoom Air and this is Zoom Strobel unit. So yeah, Nike is using Zoom Strobel a lot, and which is of course a good thing. I feel like a lot of people do like it, but also like, it says in the forefoot, right? So it pretty much says cushion in core and Zoom Air spring in the forefoot. So I was like confused when I read that. And then that was like in a different section of the tech specs. And then underneath that, it said full length Zoom Strobel. So I don't really know if there's an extra Zoom unit in the forefoot, but I don't really feel anything like different. It doesn't feel bouncy or anything like that in the forefoot. It just feels like a full length Zoom Strobel unit right now to me. So yeah, feels very nice. And if you like Zoom Strobel, of course, this is a great cushioning setup. You have a lot of compression right underneath your foot. You have a lot of bounce. And then, like I said, the foam is actually quite soft. So we have a good amount of compression here in the heel, but also it has good court feel, right? You can see how thin the actual foam is. So the court feel actually seems pretty good, even though it has a full length Zoom Strobel unit, right? So yeah, it does everything really well so far. And I feel like most people will enjoy it because of that. I'm just not 100% sure about the 4-foot unit, right? But I don't think they could really fit another 4-foot unit in here because, you know, we have such thin foam and or we already have full length zoom strobe. So I don't think there's another zoom unit in there, but sorry if I'm incorrect. But yeah, I don't know, like Nike needs to work on their tech specs a little bit, I think. All right, moving on to the material. So we have kind of like a textile mesh. Or like an engineered mesh. They're saying it's an EM, but it kind of reminds me of like, it's just like a textile, you know what I mean? Like here where the toe box is. And then we have some synthetic suede going around, like kind of like the toe guard. And it's really thin. Look at that, it's super duper soft. It doesn't really feel glued down at all, but also feels very supportive. It doesn't stretch really at all, so it feels really nice on foot. Conforms to my foot extremely well. And then here in the midfoot area, we have pretty much like a nylon material, right? And it's we have some stitching going down the side of the shoe as well, and that'll of course improve the support. And then we have a swoosh on both the lateral and medial side, which is also stitched onto the upper. And so yeah, it feels really nice on foot. I really like how it feels, and it doesn't feel like super cheap, I guess. I mean, it does feel pretty cheap, but not like really crappy, right? But for 170 bucks, I feel like they could have really done a lot better for the material quality, right? So yeah, Nike is just kind of, I feel like, not doing so hot right now as far as like quality goes, tech goes for the upper. Now for the tongue, we have like a nylon material with some ventilation holes, and then for the like on top of the tongue, we have like a little bit of foam. It's kind of like a rubbery type of foam, and it's not super well padded, but it has a little bit of padding to it. And then here in the ankle area, on the sides, it's pretty minimal, right? Like where your ankle bone is kind of, right? There's really not a lot of padding there, but like in the back, right? In the back of the shoe, pretty much like where your Achilles is, it feels really nice because it has a good amount of padding. So the overall upper, it feels nice on foot, and it feels like it'll be pretty durable as well. It's just not the best for quality, especially for the high price of 170 bucks, right? And then moving on to the fit. So I went up half a size, and I've been going up half a size for basically all of my Nike shoes, and it fits me very well, right? So my toes, I mean, there is a little bit of length. Definitely is a little bit of length, but I definitely feel like if I went true to size, it would have been really bad because look at this. Look at how freaking pointy and look at how narrow this toe box is, right? So I feel like for most people, unless you want like a really skinny fit or you have a really skinny foot, I would suggest most people go up half a size, right? And I like for me, I like to have a very snug fit in my hoop shoes, but I went up half a size and still fits me well. And here in the toe box, it's also quite snug. So me going up half a size, it feels very nice. It's a snug fit as well. There's just a little bit of length, which I don't like, too much, but it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker or anything like that. So there's that. And now moving on to the support and lockdown. So for lateral containment, it feels like it's gonna be good overall, right? The overall material feels pretty supportive, especially with this kind of synthetic suede material. And also the foam comes up acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot, kind of like in the midfoot, and we have an internal TPU heel counter, right? However, like I mentioned before, lateral stability doesn't feel like it's gonna be very good. I feel like that has to do with like the nubs, right? Where the circles protruding out, this kind of outsole pattern, because it just rocks. Like not only back and forth like this, but also sideways like this a good amount, right? So we'll have to see on that, but I haven't played in these obviously yet, but it does feel a little unstable for me even when I'm just walking around, so I am a little bit worried about that. But also I'm not really experiencing any type of heel slippage or anything. My foot feels locked into the shoe. It's just the lateral stability that I'm a little bit worried about, right? And now moving on to the weight. So when I first got this and I picked it up, I was like, yo, this shoe feels pretty dang light. And the foam is probably a very low density foam, and it doesn't feel like they added all too much to the upper either. So I'm guessing pretty light, like 11-12 ounces. Wow, so 11.3 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 11.35 ounces. So yeah, that's extremely light. And it's like the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So 11 ounces pretty damn light, and it feels very light. It feels very light. It feels very minimal, and I also do like the cushioning setup, and hopefully the traction holds up. And if the traction is good, it'll be a very fast feeling, very responsive shoe probably. However, I guess the only thing that I'm worried about is the lateral instability, right? And now moving on to the aesthetics, I like it. I like it overall. It reminds me a lot, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same design kind of as like the Superflies. You guys, I don't remember which year it was. I think it was like the 2015 or something like that. 2017 maybe. But it has kind of like this upper pattern to it, you know? And remember that I think that was the first shoe to use React, and I was super excited because I was like, yo, React foam, but it was a React core and it was a super stiff foam. But obviously the GT Hustle 2 has way better cushion because it has a full-length Zoom Strobel, and then we have soft foam as well. So yeah, tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, I feel like this is a very good upgrade from the original Zoom GT run, because I didn't really like the run, especially with that Zoom Strobel unit in the forefoot. It felt a little unstable. It was like too much compression. You know what I mean? Like my foot, like my forefoot would kind of roll on it a little bit and feel unstable. That's why I didn't like it. It was too much bounce and stuff like that. It wasn't as responsive as I would like personally. But the full length Zoom Strobel unit, it's, you know, Zoom Strobel, right? That's full length is usually segmented, so you don't really have that instability problem as much, and it just feels a little bit better in my personal opinion. So yeah, I mean, this is a great addition to the Nike basketball shoe lineup. But the only I guess I'm worried about two things. Hopefully the traction holds up, right, when I play in it, and also hopefully the lateral instability isn't too bad. But other than that, I'm liking the overall shoe so far. And I guess another thing that they can improve upon is the material quality. I mean, Nike, the material quality, you guys, is just really bad. You know what I mean? Especially for the high-end shoes. Like the KD16 for 160 bucks, it's just not great. You know what I mean? Like Way of Way, the Chinese companies, they give us a little better quality, you know? But anyways, tell us your thoughts on how this shoe looks and how you guys think this shoe will perform down in the comment section below. And also, if you guys do want a cup, again, I'll try to leave the link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.